Good morning. It's Sunday Bun Day. Today we're obviously going to talk about chickens, but we're also going to talk about other homestead stuff. So, it's a wide topic, a big discussion. Makes it very interesting and fun. But of course, we love our chickens. So anybody with chicken questions, of course, go ahead and ask them. If you're having any troubles or problems, we will address those here. So, go ahead and ask those because I'm like chicken queen. So I'll help you with any of those questions. And I do have a couple, people write into me and I will ask, I'll read those and answer those too. But I do want to start out talking a little bit about Homestead Park, which is our big project of moving to a new property, which is so exciting and it is a big deal. But we're not showing much about that just because it is a big project. And in the beginning, there is not much to show because there's a lot of behind the scenes things going on. Talking to people, working things out, making contracts or whatever, because we're not going to be doing all the work. And so, there's not much to show. It's kind of boring, a lot of talking, figuring things out, timelines, prices, schedules, all that stuff. So, whatever. And then, so when we get to the point where we can actually start showing stuff, of course, we're going to be showing that. So in the meantime, what I've been starting to do is building some shelters for my animals. But in the meantime, Scott is doing college, so he's not over there. I don't really have a cameraman to film all that stuff. So some of that smaller stuff like that isn't being filmed. So you'll just have to kind of see that once we do get over there.
We got a $1.99 super chat from Carl and Julia.
Hi, Carl and Julia. Thank you. Thanks for joining us. Happy to have you. So some of the little animal shelters, because, moving animals is a big deal. And really the horses aren't going to be the biggest deal to move. I want to have things ready over there because I do have kind of wild, healthy horses. And I want to make sure they're very secure when I move. I don't want to move over there and have them get loose and scare all the new neighbors when they're like, oh my God, what are these wild beasts running around the neighborhood? So I'm trying to get those very settled and secure and happy. So, if they're happy, they'll just stay near me.
We got a $5 super chat from Lisa.
Hi, Lisa. Thank you.
And Lisa says, my chickens are pooping yolks, just walking along on a yolk on the ground. Is this normal?
No, that's not normal. That's very odd. Are you sure you're giving them enough calcium to form the eggshell? Because that takes a lot of calcium. That egg is not forming properly. I do have a video that talks about how that egg is formed in the chicken's body, starting from when the little egg is literally way up in the body. So maybe you can go to my website, beckishomestead.com, and find that video and watch that so you understand exactly how that happens, and that helps you just understand your chickens better. And then you can see what nutrients are needed, and believe me, the main one is calcium. So get some crushed oyster shells and make sure those are available for your chicken at all times. And also some animal protein, which is basically meat. Make sure you give them that every day, especially in the morning. That's when they need it.
Lisa says her chickens are very young.
Yeah. And in the beginning, when they're young, they do lay weird eggs. Sometimes they'll come out little teeny weeny little weird eggs. And so they're just getting going, their system. So you do have to kind of give them a chance to start doing it right. But that shouldn't take too long. They shouldn't be doing that for months on end. You know what I mean? That's usually just the first few eggs at the most. Usually that doesn't take long. And they should be, even though they might be smaller, because they're smaller eggs in the beginning, they should still be formed properly. So make sure you're just giving them all the proper nutrients so they can form a good egg. Okay, so I will just talk a little bit more about Homestead Park, just because it's so exciting. So we have this shed over there. And when we first went over there, as soon as I saw it, I was just like, oh, this thing's a piece of crap, I'm just gonna tear it down. And so, the more it's the only building on the property, the only building at all. So the more I'm over there, just cleaning up stuff, everything, the more I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, well, it's not too bad. Let me just see what I can do with it. So there was this tree growing like right near the roof, and it was like a crooked tree. It was so close to the building. So I didn't have the little chainsaw, so I just have this machete. So I'm like chopping and chopping. I'm like, I'm gonna chop this thing down. So it was such hard work, but I chopped that thing down with the machete, and I'm pulling it off the roof because it was like grown in. Got that down. I'm like, oh, okay, it looks a little better. So just slow but sure, I'm just trying to make it look better. It had vines like growing up the sides, and just dirt, like just from the years, kind of piled up around the side. And just the more I'm doing to it, I'm like, oh, you know what? It's looking better. It's pretty good. The inside had stuff in it, and I'm like cleaning it out. So now I'm like, you know what? I think I'm gonna like keep this building for a while and use it because it's dry inside. It's looking better and better. So as I'm cleaning like all the stuff around the outside, because the bottom of the boards are kind of rotted because all the leaves and dirt and vines and stuff are growing on the outside of it. And you know how a shed gets, just over the years, somebody just piled wood and stuff on the outside of the building, and it's kind of covered in grass and dirt. So I'm digging all that out. I got poison oak so bad. I've never had poison ivy or poison oak in my entire life. Well, this is the first time. I can't stop scratching it. I'm just like, I just cannot control myself. It's so miserable. So I just had to get like this, like whatever, Scott found this like cream or something to put on there. So I've been suffering with that, which isn't that much suffering, but it's kind of miserable just because it's itchy and you're just like, so, but anyway.
Carl and Julia said that they're making their chickens organic. They're going to start raising their chickens organic because they have a organic dog cookie business.
Oh.
And so they're going to raise their chickens organic so they get organic eggs for the cookies.
To put in the cookies.
And then getting organic certified is really difficult.
It is difficult, yeah, it is. It takes a lot, but I mean, because then you have to the feed has to be organic, that you feed them, and yeah, there's regulations, you have to look all that in. It's a lot of work. But I mean, I guess once you do it, and then if you find your suppliers and you can just stick with them and do it, or grow it all yourself and then feed the chickens. But maybe the hard part's going to be feeding them the animal protein, enough animal protein to lay regularly, doing that the organic way. So yeah, it's probably going to be a little bit tough, but good for you though. Good for you.
Ajmeet wants to know if we ever have mongoose bothering our chickens.
I
don't think we have mongoose in this country.
I was going to say, I'm not sure there's mongoose in America. I mean, I'm thinking maybe out west. I would have to look that up.
We have gooses.
Yeah.
They'll bother your chickens. Actually, that is true. A goose will hurt your chickens.
Yeah.
We've had a goose before be really mean to the chickens. We had to separate them.
They'll just chase them away because they want all the food. You know, they're just like, get. It's like, I want all the food.
So keep anything with goose in the name away from your chickens.
Because they want all the food. And you know, that's what all animals fight over. The whole fight is over food. You know, they want all the food. So no matter what it is, you know, it's like, it's all mine. They want all the food. So yeah, you gotta be careful. And sometimes even if you put ducks in with chickens, they might not literally physically battle. So you might like, oh, they get along, but what'll happen is the ducks will just quickly eat all the food. So the chickens, you're not gonna see cuts or sores on them, but what'll happen is they're not getting enough food. You know, even though they're not fighting, they're just not getting enough food because the ducks are eating it faster because they have a shovel for a bill, you know what I mean? And the chickens just are pecking the food. So the ducks will be getting fatter and fatter and your chickens will be getting skinnier and skinnier, and then they'll just not be laying eggs as much. And the ducks are like, all big and fat, like, what? What? Everything's fine in this coop. The chickens are over there like, no.
Hey, Doc, you look like you gained a little weight. It's like, no, I didn't.
Yeah, the chickens are over there like, we want some. So, you do have to be careful. You have to have, like, really pay attention and have, a keen eye on what's going on in there. You have to really pay attention because at a glance, you're going to be like, oh, they're getting along fine. Look, there's no problems. But if you really look closer, there are problems going on. If you really look what's going on, if the ducks could talk, you'd know.
Sharon, our channel member.
Hi, Sharon.
Says, I'm getting 2 hens for my rooster today.
Oh.
Besides keeping them apart to get to know each other, what other advice or things should I expect?
Well, for 1 rooster, 2 hens is not that many because 1 rooster on 2 hens is hard on the hens. You might think, oh, well, that's going to be enough, but you'll see. Like that rooster, because a rooster is they're just too much. And the more mature the rooster gets, he's just too much for the hens. They become bossy and they just overbreed them just day after day after day after day. And you might see that as time goes by. And what you can manage that. What you can do is, if you see that, you can just be like, okay, Mr. Rooster, these hens have had enough of you. They need a break. And you can catch Mr. Rooster and put him away for a week or 2. Like, give your poor hens a break. And the thing is, if you have the rooster because you want to have babies, just keep in mind that after a rooster breeds a hen, she's fertile. Her eggs will be fertile for up to 2 weeks. So he doesn't need to be with them 24/7 to have fertile eggs to make the babies. You can put him with the hens every 2 weeks. He doesn't need to be in there all the time. So just keep an eye on it because what happens is I've noticed if the rooster's a little too big for the hens, like you have a big sturdy rooster, when he stands on the hen, he'll do the rooster dance. So first of all, make sure he does that. If he doesn't do the rooster dance, either just keep him separate as a pet or just get rid of him because that rooster dance signals the hen to squat down. So I made a video on that, so you can find that video on my website, beckishomestead.com. So, watch that video to determine if he is a good rooster for your hens. But I forgot what I was going to say now. I got distracted by the rooster dance. I know what I was going to say. What happens if the rooster is a good-sized rooster, he's a big rooster, what happens is when he does the rooster dance and the hens squat down is what he does is he stands, where he mounts her, is he stands like on her hip joints, like her balls, hip joints, on top of her. When he mounts her, she'll squat down. That's where his weight is on those when he breeds her. And he'll kind of balance up there. And some roosters will have to even kind of bite her neck to like balance himself as he's mating. Well, if he's really heavy and he just keeps breeding her and breeding her and breeding her, is like her hips will start like, going. Being injured. And if he's even so big, it'll like pop one of her hips out of the joint and it's like a fatal injury. Like she'll just like start hobbling around with her hip out of joint and it'll kill her. So you have to be careful. If your hens, if your rooster's oversized for your hens, like he just will not be able to be in there all the time. You'll have to take him out of there.
Amber, our channel member, says,
hi, Amber.
Says, good morning, Becky. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning.
And she sent a $9.99 super chat with the flying pear.
Let me see the little pear. Oh my God, that's so cute. I love that little cape going behind. It's so cute. Just remember that sometimes, roosters can be a total nightmare and a total pain. But also, they are cute. You do like to hear the cock-a-doodle-doo, and a lot of people just want to try the rooster. they think, the hens need a rooster, which I always say the hens are happier without the rooster, and they actually lay better without the stress of a rooster. A lot of people do want to make their own babies, though, have the little babies bred on their farm and just experience that because it is so, so adorable. And the truth is, the babies are healthier and happier when mommy hen raises them. Nobody does a better job than mommy hen. So, I get that because, we've done that ourselves and it's adorable, precious, just so enjoyable to watch the mother hen raise her babies. There are some drawbacks with that, though, because out of that group of babies, you're going to have some roosters. And now you're like, what are we going to do with these roosters? You can't keep them all because now what are you going to do with them? And then some people have the heart. They can just butcher those roosters and eat them themselves. Other people can't. And so then it's just, they're like, we'll keep them as pets, which becomes a problem because then they all start fighting and it's just a disaster. And then trying to give them away, you're like, hey, you want 3 roosters? And of course, everybody runs the other direction. Nobody wants them. So you do have to keep that in mind. That becomes an issue if you do want to breed your own chickens at home. So there's a lot to think about. You do have to be a responsible homesteader. So these are just some things to keep in mind.
Amber says she's looking for land in Putnam County, ready to get a mule.
Get out. Oh, I love my mule. Love my mule. He's a beast. He is a beast. You do have to know what you're doing. So I would read a lot about mules and, get on Lucky 3 Ranch, Meredith Hodges. She's a great mule woman. She is the mule queen. She was the first and foremost.
Because if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Amber live in the same county as James?
No. Putnam? No.
No, she said she's shopping for land in Putnam County. I'm saying currently, doesn't Amber, she said before where she lives.
Oh.
Doesn't she live in the same county as James? I think she does.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, I didn't know that.
So maybe she's sick of it like James is.
Oh, possibly. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, mules are awesome. And what Meredith talks about is you need to train your own mule and get that connection. Like sending it off and having somebody else training and getting it back doesn't really work with a mule. It does work with a horse. It does not really work with a mule. So, because they're just too smart. They're just too smart. They have to bond with you. And you got to get one that likes you. It's not a horse. But once you get one, it's really amazing if you get one that likes you.
Best Life wants to know, how do you find an insurance company for a steel building house? We can't find one.
Oh. I don't have insurance on my house, so because I built it myself.
Well, I've found we're going to have homeowners insurance in Homestead Park.
Yeah, Scott
But
takes care of
I
that.
found, in my opinion, that when you're dealing with insurance companies, you don't ever want to lie. That is just nothing but, a big problem if you ever lie to an insurance company. But you don't have to tell them your whole life story. You can just answer their questions that they ask you. And, if you have a steel building house, if you have the CO, the certificate of occupancy, it's a legal house, so you should be able to get insurance for it. If you start off like, oh yeah, we moved to our homestead and we built our own house and it's a steel building and then we framed it in and we did this and we did that, and you just tell them all that, they're gonna be like, ugh.
Zip it. You don't need to tell them all that.
But if they just ask you questions and you just answer them truthfully, and you just be like, yeah, it's my house, and they say, well, how many square feet is it? And you just tell them, I don't think you should have a problem.
Especially if you have the CO.
Yeah,
That's the
if
thing.
It's a legal house,
a
you
lot
have
of
the
people
CO.
don't do it by the book and don't have the CO and they don't get the permits and it hasn't been inspected and gone through, the inspections to get the CO. That's what we tell everybody. Do it by the book if you want to, and it also benefits you if you want to sell it in the future. Everything's legal, everything's done properly.
I got a $4.99 super chat from Amber. It says, keep it up. It's the pair working out.
You're so sweet, Amber. keeping on being working out. It's like it's gotta be jumping rope. I'm like, oh, that is so hard. But I feel so good if I jump rope. I'm like dying if I jump rope, but I don't know why. I just like to try.
Amber said she liked my hiking video. Do you mean the video where I was just talking about my backpack? Because I don't think I did a video of actually hiking yet. I wanted to. Or did we put a video? I know I did the one with my backpack. I just showed that.
Hiking's very healthy though, very healthy. It's good to hike. I personally would rather ride than hike though. I'd rather ride through the woods than hike through the woods, but I do like both. But if I had to choose one, I'd rather go ride through the woods. But luckily I get to do both. I just like the, just to go with my animal though. It's so much fun. Plus he likes to go in the woods, my animal does. My big Charlie boy. I just had his teeth floated. The equine dentist had to come out. He is something. He's big old teeth.
Best Life says they asked what kind of house it is. Yeah, just
tell them
the truth.
Steel building.
But also, it's like you could say it's a steel frame with, because you're going to frame the walls in with 2x4s like normal. So I mean, it's basically a normal house with 2x4 framed walls.
You don't have to say what frame it is, so you can say
the only
it's
difference
brick.
is there's steel beams holding up the roof.
Right.
Besides that, it's like everything else is exactly the same.
So what is it? Is it cement block? Is it clapboard?
Because for example, you can literally do a steel building, but you fill the walls in with cement block.
Yeah, so I'd call that a cement block house.
So exactly. If they ask you what kind of house is that, well, you're going to say a steel building. It's like, well, it's mostly cement block.
Which I wouldn't say mostly. I'd say it's a cement block house.
I'm just saying, I'm not telling you that's what my answer would be. I'm just saying that.
Yeah.
Right now to you.
Yes, I understand that. But
so is it even a steel building at that point? If it's mostly cement blocks?
Not to me. I would say it's a cement block house. So, you could just say that, or brick, or wooden, whatever it is. And let them keep digging if they need more information. They're not going to come out and inspect it. And if they do, the guy's going to come out and be like, yeah, it's a wooden house. He's not going to tear the clapboard off to see that there's a steel frame under there.
Yeah. Also, you can shop around. There's insurance companies that are, know who you could do. Call the steel building company and ask them who will insure it, because I'm sure they'll know. Because steel buildings are a thing everywhere, so I'm sure.
Yeah.
You can insure them.
Look how many there are. I mean, obviously somebody insures them. Like Walmart, Sam's Club, how many industrial buildings are steel?
Churches.
Somebody insures them.
Every church nowadays that's a new construction is a steel building. Yeah. And then they fill it in with concrete block or wood.
Businesses as well, though. Just go down a strip. Like every business is steel.
So I'm sure those churches have insurance.
Yes. Exactly.
Tammy did a $4.99 super chat. Good morning, Becky and Scott. Would you consider hosting small workshops at Homestead Park in the future?
Yes, we are. We do plan to do that.
That is literally like one of the reasons we bought Homestead Park.
Yes.
It was a little expensive for me to buy it, but I'm like, it's an investment.
Yes. Because we do love to encourage people to homestead. We do think that's a healthy path for a lot of people and a lot of families. And we just like to show people the lifestyle. Like, this is a choice out there for people. You don't have to be the 9-to-5 lifestyle. That is not the only route you can take. We do think it's healthy that kids can see that there's another choice. You see the kids going down going through school, and a lot of kids act up in school because they're not happy with that regimented, routine, and like they pop out the other end, and then it's like college, and then it's an office job.
If you just do what society
It's
just
horrible.
is like the standard script,
Yeah.
you're not going to go down a good path.
Like that didn't fit me as a child at all, you know. Like when I was little, you know, my father would be like, "You're going to marry a farmer," and you know, he had it half right. You know, he should have said, "You're going to be a farmer." You know what I mean? Like he saw it from when I was little. So, I think a lot of parents that have children and maybe their child isn't like thriving in school, so they might be like, what's going on? Well, really nothing's going on. There's nothing wrong with your child. It just needs a different opportunity. It just needs a different option. And maybe, you know, the homesteading option is like the perfect fit. And I can't even tell you how many children write to me, you know, and parents write to me where the kids just latch on and absolutely like just love me. And it isn't like, I guess, that they really love me so much. I think it's just that like, oh my God, they just see something that they can relate to. And they're just so excited and so elated. So that just makes me thrilled and happy that I can offer that idea to them. So we are just overjoyed and thrilled that we are going to be able to offer that once we get to Homestead Park and just open that up to, you know, more and more people. Just that healthier, different lifestyle.
Thomas says that his chicken just came up to the window and scared him.
Boo! That's what you should name the chicken. Boo!
I think it wants to watch too.
He's like, hey, what's going on in there? I hear Becky's homestead in there.
Quit hogging the TV.
Yeah, he wants to sit down right here and watch.
Tammy did a $4.99 super chat with the
Thank
happy
you,
celebrating
Tammy.
pair.
Let me see. So cute. That's very nice. Thank you, Tammy. We appreciate it. So, yeah. Well, anyway, so, you know, it's so, you know, I want to tell people that are trying to get into the homesteading lifestyle and like making the move to that lifestyle, it does take time. Like, don't get downhearted. You know, it is a big deal to switch lifestyles. I mean, here you are going in this one direction for years and years and years. Everything is going in this direction. And then you're like, okay, I want to be a homesteader now. So you're like putting on the brakes. So you got to slow this train down. You're like, which just that takes time. And then just to try to like change tracks to a different track. Just that takes time, and then to start picking up speed in this direction takes time. So, I mean, don't be too hard on yourself. You know, you have to give yourself a chance. And of course, you want to be like, be over there doing it. You know, in your mind you are. You picture yourself like on your homestead and all the things you want to do, and you're there already in your mind. But in reality, that takes time. So, you know, like, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't get depressed, you know, and I have to even tell my own self this because, you know, you want to just like, hurry, like, I want to be there. And so you just have to remind yourself, like, okay, things take time, you know, it's going to happen. You're going in that direction. And so give yourself time to get there, you know, it's going to happen. It will happen. And, you know, we have experience, like we know what we're doing. We know what to look for. We know what we're doing. And it still takes time because things still come up that you have to address. Problems still come up that you have to solve. Things still come up. You have to make big decisions that you need to think about for a minute. So, like, it's better to just do that in a smart way than to rush, you know, and then later you're having to sort those things out. And that's just going to cost you more time and more frustration. So really try to be mature about it and hold yourself back, hold your excitement back, which isn't easy, and still make good decisions. Because in the end, you know, your homestead's going to turn out better in the end. And then it truly will be everything you dreamed of, you know. And that's really even the little different aspects of your homestead, like planning out your garden, planning out your chicken coop, planning out your little home that you're going to build, all those little different aspects, the same principles apply to each little thing as well. You know, don't get too excited about building the coop and just rush out and like get too many chickens, you know, or just throw the coop up in the wrong spot in the yard because you're rushing and in excitement. You know, the same with the garden. Like, just do it all right with thought, because it just ends up better in the end, you know. It just pays off way better in the end than just going too fast. You know, you don't want to have to, you already have to make adjustments. Even when you do it smart, you still have to make adjustments in the end, you know. So it's, that already needs adjustments. To go too fast.
What's an adjustment we just had to make? We could tell people about that. We were going to talk about that today.
Yeah, the adjustment we had to make is, we thought we had a structure mover, which is the person that's going to move the cabin. We thought, like, for months, we thought we had the guy. We thought we had the guy, structure mover. And then come to find out, right when we're like we're ready to go. Guess what? We don't. Like, totally fell apart, just disintegrated. And so that was like, oh my gosh, you're kidding me. You're like kidding me. And so one day I was just out there feeding my animals, and I was just like, you know what? That's it. I'm just going to go inside. I'm going to get on the internet and just look them up, get more, you know, names, and we are just going to start looking. So I just came in the house. I told Scott, that's it. We're just, you know, we're done. We're done with this person. We're going to get more names. I went in there, wrote down names. You know, he wanted to do all the calling this next time. He's like, I'm going to do all the calling. I'm like, fine, whatever. So I just wrote.
Because you're like, oh, it's my log cabin. I built it myself, and I'm just so nervous to move. And can you take the porch with us, or do the porch, or take the porch apart? And then I could just see the guy in his head. It's just the cash register.
He's exaggerating.
Cha-ching, 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 cha-ching. I go, the more you talk to the guy, the higher the price goes. You got to just be like, look, the log cabin's here. We want it there. Stop talking. That's all you got to say. And then we get a better price. But if you're like, oh, I built it myself, and I'm so nervous, and take the porch, and do this, and do that. If you just be like, here's the cabin right here. I want it over there. And simple. Less expensive. That's how you got to be.
Okay, so he wanted to do the calling this time. So he's a young man, and I think he can manage it. He seems capable.
I'll put on my
you
put
hear
on my
him,
thinking
right?
hat, and I'll see if I can manage.
I'm a good mother. He seems capable at this. I'm like, let's see. So I write down all the names, and I'm a good mother. I know when to pull back and let my son step up. So I'm doing it. I think I deserve a pat on the back for this. So anyway, he's got the list over there, and he's been making the calls. And so I'm leaving that up to him, and that's where we are right now. So,
and we have a few people who are
writing
like
up
working on estimates.
Yes. So that's the point we're at now. And so that is what happens sometimes, is you reach a point where you think things are lined up, even when you're doing it right, and things fall through. And you just have to be like ready to make adjustments, you know, because no matter what project you're on, you just have to think about it and just make an adjustment. You know, the time comes where you're just like, okay, this isn't working. It's time to make an adjustment. Let's do it. So, you know, that's the point we're at, which, okay, let's face it, you know, it can be a little depressing. It can just be like, darn it, you know what I mean? Like, you know, you want to have a little temper tantrum and fall on the floor and have a little fit, but, you know, obviously you're not going to do that.
But the good thing is, I said it, my aunt tells my mom, everybody tells her, moving this cabin is a small job for these people. If you go on their websites, you see them, they're literally moving like 4-story Georgian mansions with porches on a boat. So to move this little cabin, it's like moving a shed for them. They're like, oh, it's an easy job this week. Let's just get this one done.
It is.
So there's no reason to get too worked up.
Well, I just want to have a balanced view myself, though, because this is what I also think.
You know what we should tell people? Finish your thought, but...
Well, I also tell myself as well, though, I don't want the cabin to be a sticking point of us moving to Homestead Park. Like, I am attached to my cabin, but then I also think to myself, I don't want to be so attached to a structure that it stumbles me from moving. You know what I mean? Like, I do love my cabin. I just can't help it. I'm very comfortable. It's little.
No, moving the cabin's the right move. It's definitely going to be easier and cheaper than
And I love
building
hearing that. And
a
I
new
do
house from scratch.
I do agree with that, and I do love hearing that. But like, if it couldn't work out, I don't want to be like bawling my eyes out putting this on the market, moving. I want to just be able to have a happy heart and just like, okay, I can build a new place over there and just be just as happy. You know what I mean? I want to be free in my thoughts that I could do that. So that's just me, you know what I mean? Because I just don't want to be so attached to a building. I just think that could almost be ridiculous. But of course, if we can move it, which we're trying, of course I would be happy. But anyway.
The point we should tell people, the thing we learned is sometimes you might need a contractor.
That is one thing we have learned too. You know, a lot of times if you're doing it all yourself, like when
physically, you're literally swinging the hammer yourself.
Like we did doing this house, it's no problem. You don't need a contractor.
You are your own contractor for your own house.
Right. So doing all that, we never figured it out. You know, we just were fine. We just did it all ourselves, from the foundation, like everything we did ourselves. No problem. Never entered our minds that we need a contractor. Now, doing our second step over in Homestead Park, we're doing like half the stuff, and we're hiring half out.
Well, just the big heavy stuff that
we don't have to do.
They'll do it better. I mean, let's be honest.
And
they'll
faster.
do it better and faster. So the thing I've learned is calling these people are subcontractors. So calling like a mason or calling some house movers, they're used to dealing with contractors. So I think I figured out that me calling them as the homeowner, they're kind of like, they don't know me, so they're thinking this is nothing but problems, and they kind of like don't return my calls. And so the thought occurred to me one day. I'm like, you know what? One person I talked to goes, oh no, I'm a subcontractor. You have to get the permits, you know? And so then I'm thinking.
And then we're like, huh? Like, why wouldn't you get them? Like, why would we pull them?
And so then I'm thinking, you know what? They're used to dealing with contractors. So if you're doing a project and you're hiring people, even though you might be a homesteader and capable of swinging the hammer and doing a lot yourself, you might need to hire a contractor. It might save
you are going to be the contractor pulling the permits for them, responsible for the insurance.
I lost my thought. What I was going to say is, you might just need the contractor. It'll save you money in the long run. It'll keep things going smoothly because he'll deal with them. That they're comfortable. You want to keep your people you hire comfortable. You know, you don't want to throw them a big curveball because then they do actually a worse job for you.
Or they could just pull the permits. Like we could pull the permits.
Well, yeah, that's part of it. That's what they do.
We don't need a contractor. We could pull the permits ourselves. We could.
Yes, obviously, but that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about.
So there's a choice. We don't want to confuse our listeners.
Keeping the workers comfortable and what they're used to doing and dealing with.
Yes. So what the point is, let me just tell you the takeaway point is, there's a lot of subcontractors out there, and there's a very few contractors. All these worker subcontractors usually work for a contractor.
Yeah, that's what they're comfortable and used to.
So there's like a million subcontractors, and there's just a few contractors. I know a contractor. It's hard to have your contractor's license. You got to take it every year.
I thought about being that. Like when I was considering what to go to college for, that was one thing I considered.
Yeah. So that is the thing. So, I mean, for us, a lot of the companies of the moving companies we're having, because we need the cabin moved and a foundation built. So some of the structure movers we're calling are contractors as well. So they can do the foundation, or they can subcontract it out to the mason.
But a lot of them are not. A lot of them are subcontractors.
Yes, yes. So, see how complicated it can all get if you are not doing all the work yourself.
Also, that's why we write books too, because hearing us talk about it, it can actually get confusing.
It can get
That's
confusing.
why we write books, so you can get the book, show them the book. That's why we write the book.
About buying land, one of them. And I said that to Scott. I'm like, I got to write another book. Buying land and the chicken book. And that's so you can sit down, and I do it as simple as possible. You can read it, and then you can like just wrap your head around it, what you're doing. You know what I mean? Because like when we're trying to explain it, and these are important things when you're trying to do a homestead, because we don't learn any of this stuff in school. And like a lot of the people we know, they're all 9-to-5 workers. They don't know about it. You know what I mean?
Honestly, we should write a book about, well, I don't want to say it because somebody's going to steal our idea, but what I was going to say is...
Yeah, so I'm going to write another book.
Not to talk about politics or anything, but all the money that's coming into the economy ends up in housing prices. So when you can build your own house, and when I say build your own house, that could be as much as like just kind of being the project leader and hiring people or swinging the hammer yourself, you can save so much money because all that money ends up in housing prices. So houses are so expensive.
And you know, as what we have been, I want to say, preaching forever, is we think being a homesteader, the main goal should be to be mortgage free. That changes your life like more than anything.
And the thing
to
is,
be mortgage free. If rather you have family, rather you have children, rather you are just a young person starting out, you know what I mean? Rather you're single. Like, I don't care where you are in life. To be mortgage free changes your life. You literally turn into a different person to the better.
And
it's
if you just
so
buy a house,
life-changing.
If you just buy a house the normal way, like call a real estate agent, say,
Crazy.
I need a house.
Crazy.
Show me houses. And then they're like, here's a house. It's $700,000. You're like, okay, give me my mortgage. You're never going to be mortgage free.
Crazy.
You're basically just a renter.
And also, being a renter, we know somebody who just rented a house. You know, they have a family, just rented a house. And I know another person who rents. The rent and the cost of living is so high. They literally work just to live. And the woman, she's a young woman, literally told me the words, we work just to live. She said, I told my husband, we literally work just to live. It's so sad. They have like no savings. They're not paying to pay any equity because they don't own it. She said it's just for the rent and, to keep the cars running. They have to have 2 because they each work. And that's it. Now, of course, they're not poor. They live nice, they eat, they have their car, but that's it. They're literally living year after year after like just working to live. I said, and she just realizes it, and it's depressing. It's so sad. And like I know another family the same way. Just the cost of rent is so high, and the vehicles and the children, just everything.
That's why it's hard and
pathetic.
Stressful to build your own house or whatever.
You gotta push yourself and be smart.
That little bit of effort at the beginning pays you back
over
the next
moon.
20 years.
Pays over the moon. Because
even though like right now we're doing all this moving and everything is stressful and hard, since we were both mortgage free, we were in a good position to buy Homestead Park, which was a jump up for us, a huge jump up. Like I still can't even believe we own that property. But the only reason I could afford to buy that was because we were both mortgage free.
Yeah.
If we both had huge mortgages on our houses, like we could never.
It wouldn't even be a dream. It wouldn't even be a dream. We'd just like
even worse, it'd be a nightmare because I'd see Homestead Park and then I'd be like, I can't buy that.
And then when you're happy, you're just like, yay. It isn't a happy like a bragging. It's just a happy like, oh my God, I can't believe we accomplished it. Oh my God, I can't believe we managed it. It's not even like, Oh yeah, we did it. Look at us. It's not even like that. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe we did it. It's like, oh, we managed it. And the only reason is, it's like we tell everybody out there, go small.
That's the key.
Go small. When you're building a house, build a tiny house. Just build a little
just
tiny
watch
house.
any of those TV
800,
shows.
not too small. Like, don't build an outhouse. You'd be like, oh yeah, we're gonna live in a 400 square foot house. Like,
Now, I think
don't go crazy.
I think 800 to 900 square feet.
800
is
square
good.
feet. You know, you can get 2 bedrooms, even 3 small bedrooms. Like, get rid of all your stuff. That's the key. Get rid of stuff. Scale down. Of course, you're going to have all your basics, have what you need, everything you need.
We practice what we preach too, because
Yes.
I had a big computer. It was huge. It weighed 40 pounds because I just had to weigh it to mail it. Huge computer.
Try
I
to scale
sold
down.
it. I sold it, and I bought a MacBook Air, which is like the smallest, lightest little laptop.
That's right. Try to scale down. Less is more. You honestly feel better because you're just not taking care of all this stuff. You know what I mean? Less is more. It's a freedom. You know, you still get to do just as much. You know, it's not like you don't get to have as much fun. You actually have more fun. You have everything you need. You're just not buried in stuff you don't need. And then when it comes time to make a move in life, you actually can do it because you are mortgage free. You know, I could just go on and on and on. And I just do this to help people. You know, it's truly, truly to help people. You know what I mean? I don't want to be a bore. You know, I don't want to be a bore, but I'm just like, I just want to help people get into a better position because I just know, you know, it's just going to be such a relief for so many people that are looking for it. You know, of course there's people that are like, yeah, I'm happy. Like, I don't want to change. You know what I mean? They're just like, they just can't be bothered, or just, they're too overwhelmed. Okay. Those aren't the people we're talking to. You know what I mean? That's not, those people aren't going to be drawn to the you know, homesteading
Simple
lifestyle.
life.
Yeah. Those aren't our people.
If you can get your house, your car, and college sorted out,
And you can
in
if
a
you want
frugal,
to.
simple way,
Yeah.
you're going to have a really good path in life.
Right.
But if you just are like doing the house, the car, and the college, just how TV tells you to, like, oh, just, okay, let me get in line with everybody else, you're gonna have a bad time.
And it feels exciting at first doing it that way, the way things are advertised. But I mean, let's be honest. I was so funny. I was talking to my sister yesterday and I said, you know, let's just be like, okay, you get your Ferrari. You're just like, yeah, my Ferrari. And you're in your Ferrari and you go for your drive and get your fancy dinner and you come home. I'm like, it's still parked in the driveway. It's still a piece of junk parked in the driveway, and you come inside and sit on your sofa. Okay, where's your Ferrari? Parked outside. You don't live in it.
You can rent a Ferrari too. That's the thing. You don't have to own it.
I mean, if you really, really think about it, it's still a hunk of metal parked in the driveway or wherever it's parked. I mean, let's be honest. You know what I mean? So you have to like put things in perspective. You know, not that they're not nice. And when you see one, you're like,
That could be a good thing to talk about.
Cool.
Things you should buy and things you should rent.
yeah. Not that you wouldn't like to go for a ride in one and sit in one and just be like, yeah,
you can
cool.
rent
Like
stuff.
go for a ride in one.
Like,
but I mean,
when I see rich people, like if you watch one of those TV shows where they show rich people's houses, like on YouTube, they have that Architecture Digest, I think it is, YouTube channel where they go to all these mega mansions where they got like a built-in spa, and you know, you've seen it. I'm like, even if you're super, super rich, your spa in your mansion is not as good, not even close to as good as like a real spa that you could just visit. You know, like there's places where the spa, it's like, you know, this huge complex and, you know, mud and bubbles and springs and everything everywhere and palm trees. Your spa in your mansion is not even going to be as good as that. So you could have a simple, modest house and then visit the spa that'll blow your mind, visit it, and then come back to your simple, modest house. It's like you don't have to own a mega mansion with a crappy spa in the basement. That just doesn't make sense.
I always look at it, this is how I think about it. It's like going to a museum. Like you like to go in there and look at all that cool stuff, but you don't want to bring it home. You know what I mean? Like that's how I like to look at all the fancy stuff. Like he was saying with the Mega Mansion. Like I would like to go look through all that stuff. Like if I see a Ferrari, I'm like, oh cool. But like I don't want to bring all that stuff home. It's like I just like to see it and maybe touch it, admire it, but I don't want to bring it all home. When I come home, I just want to come home to my simple house, keep it clean, keep it simple, and that's it. Like you know, I don't want to bring everything I admire home. It's like I just want to admire it out there and look at it. Just leave it out there. I don't want to bring it home. That's how you have to think about it. But okay, so it's all just, it's all just your perspective in life, and it's all the way you think of things, and all that does affect your inner peace, your happiness, you're just the way you enjoy your day-to-day life. And which really at the end is really what it's all about, your quality of life, your family life, and just how you wake up in the morning and how you feel. How do you feel when you wake up in the morning?
Alechia says that her mom is trying to sell her house, but the house was moved. And so the bank doesn't want to loan the money to sell, to the buyer because the house was moved.
How do they know it was moved?
Well, obviously.
Like, why tell?
Well, it might be in the permit records and stuff. Like, they look all that up. But that's what we learned selling my house is if somebody's financing it to buy your house, the real customer is the bank. Not the buyer.
Unless you have a cash buyer.
So if you have a weird house that has a weird anything going on, you might have to sell it cash only, which means there's no bank involved. You still get the title company to do the title search and title insurance. You do all that, but you do cash only if you have a weird house.
Yes.
And you might have to lower the price and say cash only, Or you got to talk to your real estate agent about that.
And it might also depend who moves it too. If you get
I always tell you, if there was permits, if you do anything with no permits, you are going to pay for it later.
Right.
That $300 permit is going to cost you $40,000.
And it's true. Like if you hire a legit licensed insured structure mover,
and get all the permits,
they get the insurance, have the permits, and do everything legit and move that building, and have the foundation built with the permits and everything. I just can't imagine why the bank, it's all inspected. I can't imagine why the bank.
Because if anything is done with no permits, that'll scare a bank away.
There's no CO, there's no permits. The bank's not going to touch that. There's no way. Nobody will insure it. So, you got to do things by the book if you plan on selling in the future. Got to be careful with all that. So, I don't know what to tell you. You got to be very careful when you do things. You got to do it for your benefit for the future. That's why you're really doing the permits, you're pulling the permits, you're doing everything by the book for you. People take shortcuts that really they're cutting off their own foot, so to speak. They're not helping themselves in they're like, oh, the county charges too much, and they're hating on the county. Those rules are there to protect you, the homeowner. They really are there to protect you.
Yeah, because you might be like, oh, the building inspector, permits. But you know what? On the other side of that coin, people building houses do horrible, dangerous,
shoddy,
lazy work. And, so it's like there's another side of that coin.
And it's even bigger than that. You have to deal with the insurance companies in the future, the banks. You can never get a home equity loan. They all look at all that stuff. So doing things by the book protects you for, you don't know what's going to happen in 10 years. If you don't get the CO and you sneak and build it, and then later you're like, oh my gosh, somebody has a big illness. We need to get a home equity loan. We need money. You're not going to be able to get one. Nobody's going to touch you. Give you money or anything. So.
Roses, Lace, and Laughter says, our dog likes to stick his tongue in the chicken coop fence and let the chickens peck his tongue. Is that weird? Yes, that is weird.
It's a little weird. That's a crazy dog.
The answer is yes.
Yeah, that's a crazy dog. He's so funny. Animals are funny though. I mean, if you just watch animals, they just do the funniest things. You just watch them.
Garrett is a homesteader who lives in Brooklyn. He gets honeybees and eggs from his chickens.
Oh, cool. Yeah, good going, Garrett. I just love people that will live in a little spot and just do what they can where they are. That just warms my heart. You know what I mean? Just tucked in a little corner, but where they are, they're just doing what they can. For whatever reason, they don't want to move or their situation, they can't move. But they just look around and they just do whatever they can where they are. I'm like, good for you. That's awesome. I love honey. Oh my gosh, I love honey. Honey is so delicious. You can get that beeswax and make beeswax candles too, just to add to your repertoire. I like candles too. Nothing burns better than that beeswax either. That makes such nice candles.
Amber says she likes your earrings.
Oh, thank you. I made them.
Carol says people have chickens and peacocks. Yeah, peacocks are very loud and noisy, and
they can be aggressive.
They jump on your roof and they'll jump on your neighbor's roof. Like that's like a big animal.
I've heard peacocks will jump on your car too and scratch it.
Yeah, they got big claws.
So you have to be careful with the peacock. I mean, some people say the peacock will just become obsessed with their car. I think what happens if you have a male, it'll see itself in the car reflection and it'll just start getting up there on the car and then it just gets obsessed with the car.
Maybe a peacock is something you would want to visit at a zoo or something and not own. Amber sent a $4.99 super chat. It's
you're so sweet,
it's
Amber.
The lemon.
Let me
it's
see.
The lemon saying hello.
Oh, is that adorable? I love the lemon.
You have a lemon lime tree.
I do have a lemon tree. It's not a lime tree, it's a lemon tree. The funny thing is the lemons start out green. So I have so many lemons on it though. I'm like, by the time they get bigger and bigger, that thing is going to be like drooping. But I have to move it, so one of these in the fall, I guess, whenever we get over there. As soon as there's water over there, I would move it. But I'm like cutting all the vines. I have this huge, 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 beautiful pine tree. I call it Big Daddy. It's just so big and beautiful. I had like little baby trees growing around it because I have so many pine cones. It had all these vines growing up it. I'm over there like chopping all the vines off it. I don't want to see any vines growing up it. I want to like try to get everything off it and like try to be nice to it and get everything off it so it can grow even better. It's just so huge and so big and so beautiful. But let me tell you, it is so much work, like trying to take care of this property and that property. It's like, whew, 2 properties is like, because that one is just so much bigger now. Which I'm so excited to take care of the bigger property. There's so much I want to do over there, but I got to be over there. I'm just like going back and forth. I'm just like, I'm wearing me out, especially in this summer heat. It's just like, oh my gosh, going over there, going over here. I'm just like, it's too much. I'm just like, hurry up. I want to be over there so much. Okay, it's
Happy
time.
Oyster says it's Sunday Bun Day.
Yes, it is. Sunday Bun Day. Sometimes I'm like, I got to get that bun up there good. I don't want it to like start sliding. I've been making it a little smaller so it doesn't slide. So my hair gets a little longer. I'm going to try to make a bigger bun now. More like a beehive. But you need a lot of hair to make a big beehive. Unless you get fake hair, which I'm doing it with my real hair. You can get like a big fake wig. But I don't. Okay, so anyway, it's time to go. I don't like to go much over an hour though, because then it's just too much. So I think an hour is enough. So as soon as we can, we will record stuff over there, and just show more what's going on.
I filmed them putting the septic in, cutting the trees down, like
a few things.
She said much hasn't really happened.
Right, and we don't want it to be too boring, you know what I mean? So you would be like yawning.
It's really just a big land right now.
It's just big land and, it's like I'm putting up just a little horse shelter. So when they go over there, I want them to feel a little homey, not just standing in an empty field like, where are we? Because I know them, they'll start running around, acting like crazies. But it is, for Florida, it is the thickest grass ever. So I am definitely going to have to contain them because Mules and donkeys are desert animals, so there's no way we can just put them out on that grass. They'll probably all founder. So, and we're gonna have to a part of it is gonna probably turn into a dry lot, a sand dry lot, like a little paddock. So we're gonna have to manage that very carefully over there with them because I don't want anything to happen to them. It's I like them to look good and be healthy. So I'm just, we're trying to organize all that too. That is a big deal. I have my little Neil pig out there. It's I'm trying to organize stuff in my mind of where I can put everybody.
Well, we got plenty of room over there.
Plenty of room, but it's very sunny too though. So, the animals can't be out in the sun. So I like them close to my cabin so I can see them. I don't want them way over there. I think they'll just be so lost. They're so attached to me when we come in.
What?
Say goodbye.
I'm just looking through and seeing if there's any super chats.
I'm choking. Sorry.
Amber says, thanks for the great live chat, Becky and Scott.
You're welcome. I'm talking too much. All right, so we are going to say thank you.
Are you done? Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll say thank you to everybody. Thank you to Amber and our channel members and our super chatters. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. And I'm going to say happy homesteading. See you next time. Bye-bye.